Hello, class. This is our review lecture for our first topic, terminology in applied kinesiology. If you missed the lecture or would like some more review, go through this video and we'll kind of go quickly through all the topics just to give you another review or another review resource. Okay, so we talked about common terminology, how we communicate in kinesiology. These are our terms that we're going to need because we're going to use these terms throughout the semester. Okay, these are directional terms, location terms, so that we can understand where we are when we're dealing with motion and dealing with the human body in general. Okay, this all starts from anatomical position, so that is standing, feet forward, palms up, face forward. And this is our anatomical position. We will refer back to this as kind of our 0 point whenever we analyze motion, analyze movement. Okay, some of the directional terminology we use here. The basics are anterior and posterior. So anterior is the front, posterior is the back. So your front side compared to your back side. Superior and inferior. Superior is up, inferior is down. So in relation to two things, your head is superior to your hips, or your hips are inferior to your shoulders. So these are directions comparing to each other. Medial and lateral. Medial is closer to our midline. Okay, our center right down the middle. Lateral is out to the side further away from our midline. So our arm is lateral to our sternum or our breastbone. Okay, if we're dealing with proximal and distal, these refer mostly to our extremities, so our legs, our arms. Proximal is closer to our trunk or closer to our midline. Distal is further away. So my hands are distal compared to my elbow. My shoulder is proximal compared to my elbow. Superficial and deep is when we go inside the body, especially when we're dealing with where muscles are in relation to each other. Superficial muscles are closer to the skin. Deep muscles are deeper down towards the bones. With ipsilateral and contralateral, this is dealing with sides. So ipsilateral is same side, contralateral is opposite side. So my right hand and my right foot are ipsilateral to each other because they're on the same side of the body. Contralateral, so if my right arm compared to my left arm, they are contralateral to each other. They're on opposite sides of the body. Plantar and dorsal refer to our foot. Plantar is the sole of our foot or the bottom of our foot. That's our plantar surface. And then the dorsal aspect of our foot is the top of our foot. Think of it like a dorsal fin on a dolphin. The dorsal fin is on the top, okay, going up. The top of our feet are looking up. The plantar surface is going towards the ground or planted on the ground. Supine and prone refers to when we're laying on the ground. Supine is on our stomach, or supine is on our back. Prone is on our stomach, sorry. So supine, we're laying on our back, our stomach is up, our anterior side is up. Prone, our anterior side is down. If we're looking at some of these combined, so we can add in and we can combine some of these terms. So like antero-superior, antero-inferior, or anteromedial, anterolateral. Antero-superior is anterior and up. Antero-inferior, anterior and down. Okay. Anteromedial, anterolateral. So like my palm of my hand would be anterolateral compared to my chest, which would be anteromedial, okay, closer to the midline. Same with posterior-inferior, posterior-medial, posterior-lateral. Looking at the back side, up and down, backside, towards the midline, away from the midline. Okay, when we go into some more of these concepts, when we're looking at motion, we have planes of motion. Okay, all of our motion will be in parallel to one of these planes, or if I say that a motion is in one plane, that motion runs parallel to that plane or in the same pattern. Okay, these are dividing us into 3 equal halves. Okay, so each of these planes divides us into 2 halves. We have 3 separate planes. Sagittal plane. Okay, the sagittal plane splits us into right and left halves. So a motion that's in the sagittal plane will go forward and backward. Frontal plane splits us into front and back halves. So a movement in the frontal plane will go side to side. And transverse plane splits us into top and bottom halves. So these are twisting motions, rotational motions that rotate in the transverse plane. Okay. Some of the sagittal plane movements we'll deal with: flexion and extension. Flexion is a movement that decreases the joint angle or makes the joint smaller. It makes that angle smaller. It's often a forward movement, okay, like bending your elbows, that is flexing your elbows. Our knee is one that we have to pay attention to because our knee is flipped. Flexion of our knee is a posterior movement, and flexion of our toes is a downward movement. Extension makes our joint angle larger. Okay, so think about a bent elbow going to a straight arm. It's often a backward movement except at our knee and at our toes. Okay, but flexion, think of it as getting a smaller angle. Extension, making it a larger angle. Okay, and then that comes into flexion in this class. Flexion or flexing will be creating a smaller joint angle in the sagittal plane. It's not contracting a muscle. Like when you think you're flexing and maybe posing, like in a bodybuilding show, that would be contracting a muscle compared to flexion, which is shrinking a joint angle. Okay, hyperflexion and hyperextension, these are beyond anatomical position movements. So hyperextension would be extending beyond anatomical position. So think about standing anatomical position. If I extend my neck or extend my cervical spine, that would be hyperextension because I'm going backwards beyond anatomical position. With dorsiflexion and plantar flexion is the pointing of our toes, okay, and dorsiflexion is bringing the dorsal aspect of our foot up. Okay, so we have plantar flexion, dorsiflexion when it comes to our ankle joint. Okay, all of the other sagittal plane movements are flexion and extension. In the frontal plane, we have abduction and adduction, abduction and adduction. Okay, so it helps us differentiate the two. Abduction is taking the limb or taking them away from the midline. Adduction is putting them towards the midline. So think about abducting, you're taking away. So if I abduct my arm to the side, okay, that is taking my arm away from my midline. If I'm adducting or adducting, I'm bringing it to the midline or adding it to the midline. So this can happen at our shoulder, we can do it at our fingers, okay, we can do it at our hips, we can do it at our toes. These are frontal plane abduction and adduction. Okay, if we look at our scapula, we have some frontal plane movements like elevation and depression. Elevation is bringing our scapulae up, and bringing them up like you're shrugging. Depression is pulling them back down. So it's moving in the frontal plane and parallel to that plane up and down. Upward rotation and downward rotation. Okay, this is where our scapulae rotate up and down in the frontal plane. Okay, so they kind of spin and rotate. This allows our arm to go up over our head. So if I'm raising my hand, I'm raising my arm up, I have to rotate my scapula so that my glenoid fossa, or where the head of the humerus sits, can shift and put me up above my head. Okay, so that's upward rotation. Downward rotation would bring my scapula in, so those inferior angles, those bottom of our scapulae, will come closer to the spine and rotate into the spine. Upward rotation, downward rotation. Okay, so I'm in the frontal plane at our trunk, because it is our midline, so think about our spine. Our spine is through the midline, so I can't get something closer or further away from the midline. So I have lateral flexion. Okay, this can go either side. So if I tip my head to the right, okay, in the frontal plane, that is right lateral flexion. If I tip it to the left, left lateral flexion. Same if we're bending at our lumbar spine also. At our wrist, okay, you can also call these adduction and abduction, or radial flexion and ulnar flexion, or radial deviation, ulnar deviation. For this class, I'm going to use radial and ulnar deviation. Those are going to be the terms that I use. So we know that our radius is on the thumb side. Radius is rad, it's right by the thumb. The ulna is on the pinky side, okay, because if we're in anatomical position, the ulna is closest to you, closest to your midline. So radial deviation would be abduction, or bringing the wrist further away from the midline. Okay, ulnar deviation or ulnar flexion or adduction is bringing the hand in, bringing the pinky towards the ulna. Radial deviation, bringing the thumb towards the radius. Okay, and then down at our ankle, similar motion. Okay, we have inversion and eversion. This happens at our subtalar joint. So this is, we have our tibia, our talus, and then the rest of our foot, our tarsals. Okay, our tarsals rotate underneath the talus. Eversion is bringing the outside of the foot away from the midline. Inversion, bringing the plantar aspect of the foot towards our midline. Okay, so going inversion compared to eversion. Okay, so if you were to stand on the outsides of your feet, you would be sitting in inversion. If you went in and went kind of on the inside of your foot, that would be eversion. Okay, now let's shift over to the transverse plane. Transverse plane motions are twisting. Okay, these are spinning, twisting. Think transverse, twist. So we have inward and outward or internal, external rotation. I'm going to predominantly use internal and external rotation for this class. Internal rotation rotates that joint in towards the midline. External rotation rotates it away from the midline. So if I think at my shoulder, if I twist my humerus in towards my midline or take my elbow pit towards my midline, that is internal rotation. If I rotate my elbow pit out, okay, away from my midline, that is external rotation. Okay, same at our hip. If I do internal rotation, I'm bringing my femur in towards the midline, or my patella rotates towards the midline. External rotation, my patella rotates out away from the midline. And then if we look down at our radial ulnar joint, okay, this is just below our elbow, just distal to our elbow joint. Okay, supination is palms up, pronation, palms down. Okay, supination, it's like I'm holding a bowl of soup. Pronation, I'm putting my palms down. Okay, so I'm flipping my hands over. Supination is anatomical position. Pronation, you're rotating in. Then if we look over at the scapula, we have protraction and retraction. Protraction brings the scapula around the rib cage and moves it forward, rotates it forward. Retraction rotates them back towards our spine or towards each other. You can also talk about these as abduction and adduction with the scapula. So abduction and protraction are the same. Adduction and retraction are the same when we look at the scapula. And these only happen at the scapula. And then we can kind of mix some of these together at our arm, or our shoulder and our hip. We have horizontal abduction. So if we start in flexion and move to abduction, that's horizontal abduction. If we start in abduction and move to flexion, that is horizontal adduction, because we horizontally in the horizontal plane or the transverse plane add the arm to the midline, or horizontally abduct or take away the arm from the midline. Okay, if we mix some of these together, we can get things like circumduction, which is kind of rotating in a circle. So if you're thinking about stirring something with your finger, okay, that's a mix of flexion, extension, and abduction, adduction. So if we flex, abduct, extend, adduct, and rotate those around, it becomes circumduction. You can also do this at your shoulder if you're doing arm circles. Okay, that's circumduction. You can do it at your wrist also. Pronation and supination, this happens at our ankle, at our subtalar joint with our talocrural joint, which is our tibia and our talus, our ankle joint. Pronation is dorsiflexion with eversion, supination, dorsiflexion with inversion. Okay, so we kind of mix some of those movements together. These happen a lot when we're walking or running. And then we can mix some of these together. We can create diagonal planes, diagonal planes of motion where we're rotating off of our standard X, Y, and Z axis, or our standard sagittal, frontal, and transverse planes. So we're mixing these together to create most dynamic movement. It's easier for us as kinesiologists to describe movement within those three planes because it breaks the movement down into smaller pieces. But when we mix them together, we can get the resultant motion, which will be in different planes, mixing of planar movements to create diagonal planes, and normal human motion happens within all these planes. We're not robots that move only within these specific planes. Okay, each of these planes also have an axis. So we have an axis that corresponds with each one of our planes. The medial lateral axis corresponds with the sagittal plane. Okay, medial lateral axis right here. Okay, any rotation that is around the medial lateral axis, which goes from medial to lateral, or goes straight through the sagittal plane, and all of our sagittal plane motions will rotate around this axis. An axis is a point of rotation, so this is where it rotates around, that fixed point that we're going to spin around. Okay, a sagittal plane motion and a medial lateral axis motion are the same. Okay, they correspond with each other. A longitudinal axis movement is also a transverse plane movement. The longitudinal axis goes up and down, and goes perpendicular to the transverse plane. Okay, so any twisting, rotating will happen around the longitudinal axis and will be parallel to the transverse plane. Anterior-posterior axis movements, okay, anterior-posterior axis movements right here, these correspond with the frontal plane. Okay, so any side-to-side motion will have to rotate around the anterior-posterior axis, or it goes straight from anterior to posterior. Okay, and we will rotate around that, so that'll cause frontal plane motion. So here I have a quick shorthand for you: transverse plane, longitudinal axis; frontal plane, anterior-posterior axis; sagittal plane, medial lateral axis. They will always correspond with each other, and they will always be perpendicular to each other. So a movement that rotates around the medial lateral axis will be in parallel to the sagittal plane. Frontal plane motion will rotate around the anterior-posterior axis. Transverse plane motion rotates around the longitudinal axis. Okay, so you'll need to know both of them and make sure you remember which ones correspond with each. Okay, that's a key for this class. We'll go over them over and over. Your quiz will have them, and we're going to talk about these throughout the entire semester. Okay, your studying will be, or you're studying for this week. Going into next week, we're going to talk about bones in our next lecture. So make sure that you go back, review all your bones, review your landmarks if you don't remember what they are. Go back through your textbook, review your anatomy, because I do expect you to know all of these bones and know these landmarks. All right, thank you very much, and I look forward to our next lecture.